Good morning. It is time for Lisa's Changing Perceptions today with a very special guest, Mr. Kent Jones. Lisa and Kent, welcome.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Morning, Kent. Thank you for coming.
That was my makeup for this radio show.
You are a sexy beast. I think you need to go back to the button down with the gold chain hanging out.
Go back to the...
Good morning, everybody. I'm Lisa with Lisa's Changing Perceptions. I am a self-empowerment coach, hypnotherapist, and NLP practitioner. You can reach me at lisaschangingperceptions.com, lisaschangingperceptions@gmail, or you can call or text 262-573-7055, or as always through 216thenet.com, and Kent or Pete will get the message to me. Please feel free to mail in and send in questions, topics you'd like discussed, things you'd like to review. Sometime in the next few weeks, I'm going to be going back over hypnotherapy and NLP and the unconscious mind, because I haven't done that for quite a while. So with so many new listeners, they may be unfamiliar with that. So I'm going to go back over those topics. Today, Kent is here because he made a special request. He wanted to discuss the energies, the frequencies, and vibrations and how they affect us. So that will be our topic today. And if anybody's ever seen Kent on the air with me, this show could go anywhere. So we will see what happens.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Let's vibrate. Yeah.
Okay. Kent's going to take this. When this show goes down the toilet today, I just want you to know it's all Kent.
Speaking of Fantasy Factory.
Yeah. It's all Kent. Kent took it right down the toilet.
That's right.
I am a professional. Kent is not.
That's right.
So, Kent, your topic, it was your question.
Yeah.
Bring it. What would you like to discuss?
Well, a few weeks ago, you were a guest on another show here at 216 The Net, and it talked about raising vibrations, your personal vibrations. And, it's an interesting topic because the whole world is energy.
Is in a shitty low vibration
right Albert Einstein said, and I got some notes. So Albert Einstein said, everything in life is vibration. So to everybody who thinks that people who talk about energy and vibrations and things like that, oh, you guys are crazy. Here's one of the most brilliant
I've been called
minds.
A conspiracy theorist, whack job, nut job, all of it across the board. Because people don't even realize even the cell phone and this microphone sitting here, if you broke it down far enough, it's just a molecule. And it's moving at a certain frequency. It is what it all is. And there's different levels of it, obviously, and there's different ways people are affected by it. But yeah, it's truly everything. Can I say I stay in a really positive, good one all the time? No, I don't think anybody can.
Oh, yeah, right.
But I do believe in, okay, pull yourself together. What are you putting out there? Because people relate it to manifesting, and that's true. But I don't see manifesting the way a lot of people see it. But I do know when I catch myself in a certain level of mentality, that my energy is at a certain level, that it doesn't expand out far enough to grab.
Right.
So I'm conscious of that. Actually, my current life situation would be a similar example of that.
Well, and the interesting thing is, as you think, that's your vibration. As we just sit here thinking, that's the vibration that's going out from you.
They're waves.
Everybody has gone, man, this is just a shitty day, and everything's going wrong.
Right.
Well, guess what your vibration is?
Right. It's low.
It's low.
And sometimes it's because it's generally low, something in you that's keeping you sad or keeping your best. But sometimes you're in a low vibration. So you'll absorb what's around you. You'll absorb where you're at. So if you're feeling that way and then you notice, like, I hate all my coworkers, I hate my job, I hate what I'm doing. Well,
I know where you work. I understand.
What do you think? You know what I mean? Like, what do you think is around you? You're absorbing it. So you're within the energy of that. So that can happen too. And the reason I bring that up is because a lot of people beat themselves up and believe, all due respect to people who believe different than me. I will put that out there.
Yeah,
but that believe that this manifesting has to do with that horseshit. Energies affect us, and our responsibility, I'm not even going to say job, I'm going to say our responsibility for ourselves is to understand our own body, understand its frequencies and its energies and what affects it and how. But you can't determine that unless you're at core with yourself.
Right.
So you don't know a different energy is coming in and affecting you if you don't take care of your own.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't mean fix it even all the time. I just mean be familiar. That's why a lot of times with clients, especially, I tell them one of the best recommendations I can do is when you wake up in the morning, sometime midday, and then before you go to bed, do a body scan. Just a toe to the top of your head, slow, like, how am I feeling? If it's crappy, that's okay. It's not a criticism, but it's an understanding, where am I at? Where am I feeling my tensions? Where am I feeling things at? Because by at least knowing that, whether you're happy with it or not, at least knowing that when something new comes in, you have something to question. Is this me, or is this something else affecting me? Because as we'll get into in this conversation, many, 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 many things are affecting us right now, especially right now.
Yeah.
So be familiar with your own body. Be familiar with how you feel. Sadly, respect, the love and light type of era has made people believe that you're bad and bad things are going to happen to you if you have a negative thought. So people are horrified to do a body scan because, what if I find out I'm negative? Okay. Then you address it.
Are.
Right. And then you go, wow, I'm feeling kind of negative.
Yeah.
What's making me feel negative? And then you can fix it. But if not, you keep me in business because it's all the buried stuff, the stuff that's going to make you crazy, that's going to make it come to me.
And to speak on that, you've walked into a room and you've just been like, oh, shoot. That's
the example I give, because I used to teach an energy class that taught people how to do this and understand it. I said, have you ever walked into somebody's house for like a party, you know, like a party they're having, and you walk in and everybody looks okay and like everything's going fine, but something in you is going, somebody had a fight.
Right. Ooh.
And energy leaves imprints. That's another thing, is that we have energy imprints, because you can walk through an area and all of a sudden you're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
You can walk through an imprint. If an energy is impacted enough in a specific situation, it will leave an energetic imprint.
Yeah.
So when you're sensitive to those things and you walk through it, you'll feel what happened. But if you don't know what that is, you'll be, what the heck? And all of a sudden you'll get the EBGB kind of things, you know?
So if you were if people were to have like an infrared camera and I were to sit in a couch and then I get up out of that couch, you could still see my figure.
The energy coming,
from the heat.
Right.
There.
Exactly.
And that's what you're talking about.
Right, but if it's a high
imprint.
enough energy, it'll stay there. It'll stay locked, almost like a negative, a photograph negative kind of thing. The energy will stay there.
Wow.
So people sensitive that walk through it, it's locked in place. It's an energy that sits locked.
Yeah.
So you'll walk through it and you'll feel it.
Yeah.
You'll understand. My daughter and I ran into that up on, I've said before, Mary Sutherland does haunted woods tours in Burlington.
Oh, yeah.
And
Hi, Mary.
I went up there with my daughter, not through the tour, but I went up there with my daughter, and my daughter does what I do, even though she denies it. She does what I do. And we were up there and all of a sudden she's like, "Do you hear that?" Well, there was nowhere for anybody to be because it's like a hill that you're just walking a path.
Yeah.
And we both heard the same thing, and it was a ritual. We could hear people within a ritual doing a ritual, but there was no one around. And my daughter was young at the time, maybe 8 or 9. Mm-hmm. "Mom, what's going on?" I'm like, "It's an imprint. Let's go." The imprint can't hurt us, but I don't want to absorb it. I don't want to feel it. And it made me incredibly nauseated, like very nauseated. Yeah. So yeah, those things are all real. And those are the things that people need to understand their own body and how it works. So what I tell everybody who thinks I'm crazy with that stuff is that's fine. Yeah. What's the worst thing that'll happen is if you try it, nothing, right? You'll discover I'm crazy. So you're new that.
So I've been out to the massacre of Wounded Knee several times. The first time I was there, I was like, whoa, this energy is whoa, right? And people ask, well, what is it? Was it bad? I go, no, there's just a huge energy there. And then I went back the next year to see if it felt the same. Right. See, because now you're like, oh, maybe it was just the excitement of being there.
My adrenaline's up. My anxiety was up.
And it was. I mean, the energy in that is just, wow. And people are like, is it good energy? I go, I don't know. It's just energy. You just
you're just feeling the imprint. It's literally the imprint of what took place. Yeah. So it's not good or bad. It's not spirits and phantom and demons. Everybody wants to believe it's a demon because of TV now. It's just literally the energy that stayed locked there because it was so intense. It was such a heavy, intense energy that it stayed locked there. So you're sensitive. So as you walk through it, you feel it. You understand what's going on. If you sat within it long enough and really kind of cleared, you'd probably get visions of what happened.
Wow.
Like you'd probably start seeing what happened like you were there, like watching kind of what happened. You'd have to really get in tune and clear it out. But because you're within it. The energy is just heavy. And everything affects us.
Wow.
Everything affects us.
Yeah, and it's not a bad thing. And if we go, people will say that with your vibrations, like attracts like. What do you think about you attract? Not true.
I don't agree with that
Not
either.
true.
That's the manifesting thing that I'm trying to have great respect for people who believe in it in that aspect. I don't.
Right. No, it's like when people pray to God and they give them a wish list, hey, please cure Betty of cancer. Can I have a good week?
Yeah, if you didn't write that, he wouldn't do it.
Right.
I believe in manifesting as what you vibrate at, you can see.
Yeah.
So, in other words, it's there. Everything that our gut pulls us to is there. But if our vibration is low and angry and depressed, we can't see it because we don't see ourselves as it. We don't see ourselves as worthy. So I believe that where our vibration is what we're allowed to see. In other words, we're raising above the fog kind of, and we can see up, and the higher our vibration, the higher you go in a building, the more you can see, the more vast opportunities you can see, the more places you can see to go, right? I see it that way. The higher you raise your vibration, the more vastly you can see what's available to you and where to go and have a better understanding. Where when you're low, if you're at the top of the Sears Tower and I'm on the ground, who's got a better view of what the options?
Yeah, the guy up on top. Yeah.
So, but I don't believe. Do you know who Matt Kahn is?
Maybe
he's a spiritual speaker, and he makes me laugh. I don't agree with him 100% full across the board, but I do agree with him a lot. And he's really funny. He made the best one. He said he believes depression is your soul's way of saying shh, and I've always agreed with that.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have my depressive weekends 2 or 3 times a year, and I'm never afraid to say that. I'm like, when it gets too much, I literally lock down and feel sorry for myself for a weekend and cry and don't talk to anybody, and I don't answer my phone, and I get it all out.
Yeah.
Allow myself that time to go, yeah, you're sad. Yeah, that was hard. Yeah, you got your ass kicked. You know what I mean? And acknowledge all those things. And I go, okay, big girl panties, let's go. Go back to life again. And I watched him one time, and he said, I believe that's your soul's way of saying, shh, you can't hear us. And he said, so then there's these people who believe that negative thoughts happen. I love it when I say something like, oh my God, this day is going to be so tough. They go, why are you saying that? I'm like, seriously, stop it. And Matt kind of goes, yeah, it's like, oh my God, God's up there with a spin wheel and a dart. Oh, she had 3 negative thought days. Oh, we're taking her soulmate.
Yeah.
And he's so funny about it. I'm like, right. Even talking about, I'm about to make a long trip, which you guys will all find out about next Sunday. But I'm like, oh God, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. I'm nervous. That's a long drive by myself, And I'm and my girlfriend goes, stop it. You're going to make the trip bad. I said, you know what? You're probably right. God was up there going, oh, we just handed her it all.
Sucker.
It's amazing. Yeah. Oh, she thought bad. Now we're flattening the tires. What was she thinking? Stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Because whatever God or spirit or whatever you call, whatever you're talking to, is really a narcissist, and you've really got the wrong one. Because if he's up there like we're a Monopoly game,
right.
Oh, she's not going to pass go now because she said that. I don't get it. I believe that the higher our vibration is, the more we can see. The same way as elevating up a building.
So how do you raise? So if you're even if you're just in a low vibration area, how do you raise it?
It depends on what's causing it, truthfully, and how long you've been in it. I'll be honest. I just recently, and I've talked to you guys about it a little bit, the last 4 or 5 weeks have put myself through kind of an ass kicking course in raising vibration, because I was getting to a really dark, hopeless spot. And I had been in and out of that a large majority of the time for about 3 years. So I got fed up, and my scales tipped. We talked about tipping the scales. My scales tipped, and I said, I would truly rather die than live like this, feeling like this anymore. And I wasn't suicidal. That's not what I meant. But I was literally like at the scale tipping point of truly, there's nothing worse than thinking about feeling like this the rest of my life. So I said, okay, Spirit, here's the deal. I'm done. Either bring me home or show me how. This is how it's going to be. And I spent multiple weekends every day off, 6 and 8 hours in the woods.
I'm guessing.
6 and 8 hours in the woods at a time, getting some really deep, dark things yanked out, and crying, and then laughing, and then getting inspired, and then getting depressed. And just allowing and going, okay, whatever this is, we're going to flow.
Yeah.
We're going to flow. We're just going to flow. Look at it. But what was truth? And a lot of truths came out that were very hard that I was kind of aware of, but I did what I tell people not to do. I would never do that. And then I push it back down like you're afraid to look that you had the thought or the feeling. And I went, okay, here we go.
Or we become too busy, too wrapped up in our own things.
Because we live in a McDonald's society. That's always my version of that. I want it fast, I want it now, and I don't care if it's good for me. So we're so rushed for the next thing that we don't even see what our current thing is.
Yeah. And that's my mind and vibrations still work like a conventional oven. And I too just took.
I'm going to dial it around.
Yeah. I just, took a new position, but I told them, I said, listen, you want me to do X and Y, but I'm not going to be able to spit it out as I'm sitting across the desk at you.
Right.
I got to let it get in there. I got to think about
Rot
it.
around, grow, plant some seeds, let them sprout. Right.
So I said, so if you're, if we're in a board meeting and you're looking for me to spit out an answer real quick, it's probably going to be sarcastic and idiotic because that's who I am. However, you let me chew on it, sleep on it for a day, 2, 3, maybe a week. Then it'll start coming, and
right. You got to plant your seeds, and then you nurture them a little bit, kind of acknowledge them, and then let them sprout and grow and see what they turn into.
Yeah. So, what's your take on gratitude? And the reason I ask that is gratitude's been a big movement for me to raise my vibration, and not like, well, I'm grateful for Pete.
I think we should absolutely have gratitude, but I think that we have a very large misconception of what gratitude can be for. I had gratitude for 3 weekends of absolute misery.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's exactly what I needed. And when I asked for that, it came.
Yeah.
I had gratitude for the strength to know that I could do it. I had gratitude for knowing I could ask. So people say, I have gratitude because I got a new car. I have gratitude.
I'm grateful for shoes and a house.
Right. I'm grateful that I bought groceries this week. We know that those are human survivals. And we should be grateful that we have the funds to take care of ourselves. Yes. But a true heart gratitude comes inside. It doesn't come outside.
Right.
And it comes from discovering the characteristics and the parts within you that can create and have accomplished and have seen, including what people see as bad or negative, because that's part of our experience. And manipulating through and how we manipulate through those shows who we are. I can manipulate all the crap in the world and I can tell you about it. You can go, wow, that's cool. But it's not going to be a gratitude to you.
Right.
But to me, I felt it, I lived it, I did it. And yours is going to be different. And Pete's is going to be different. And to me, gratitude is finding the inner place, even in moments. That's the other thing. These people who say you have to stay in gratitude 24/7, high vibration 24/7, you can't.
It's impossible.
Yes, it is. And here's the thing.
And it's been my mantra for almost 14, 15 years.
Here's my argument with that. If your life was butterflies and rainbows and unicorn farts and
I wouldn't have a white beard if that were the case.
Well, but here's the bigger thing. If that was your life, why would you move?
Right.
Why would you learn? Why would you grow? Why would you expand? You would just remain in that exact same spot forever. What would be learning? What would be growth? What would be any of that? There wouldn't be. Sometimes the learning and growth, not 100% of the time, but a large portion of the time, if you think about your life, where you learn the most, what turned you in a direction a certain way was discomfort.
Yeah.
Not comfort. Because if you're comfortable, you don't tend to go, yeah, you know what? I'm really happy and everything's totally amazing. I think I'll do something different.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So it can't be all the time. And then people say, oh, that's God punishing you. Really? Seriously, I don't know who you guys are praying to, but I don't like him. I don't want somebody to punish me. I'm not going to pray to somebody who punishes me. It's not a punishment. It's a learning. It's an encouragement. It's like saying a parent that disciplines a kid, so to speak. You're not trying to hurt your child. You're trying to go, do you see you're going in the wrong direction? We need to change.
No, I'm trying to.
Okay, other than Ken.
I'm too old for this.
Pete and I, who were nice people.
That's right. That's so true. So like, I try to coach people, tell people, and I try to take 3 to 5 minutes each day. Then you don't have to sit for a long time. Sometimes it's longer. and try to figure out 3 to 5, 6, 7, 8 things that I'm grateful for. That's
How often do you have to make some up?
There are days you have to make them all up.
Okay.
Like, oh, I'm grateful for peanut butter because, and I try to challenge people when I talk about gratitude. Don't do the simple things. I'm grateful I can breathe. Yeah, of course. Great.
Right.
Literally, Ron Hostry, founder of this station and a mentor of mine, passed a little over a year ago. And I'm grateful to have walked those last steps with him
and known him and for the imprint you put on your life.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you, I do try to remember what I'm grateful for. And when here's the thing is when I truly feel gratitude, that it's different than saying gratitude.
Correct.
When I feel it, that's immense. And I say, thank you so much for reminding me. But there are times that I have said, okay, Spirit, I am aware that I have much to be grateful for right now. I can't see them. So my gratitude is the mercy that you have for me in this moment. And that's the best I have because I'm just sad or dark or,
Because gratitude's a verb.
Right.
It's not a noun. It's a verb. And it's a state that you have to be in.
There you go. It's you have to be mindful.
It's a feeling, not a word.
Yeah.
Correct.
You have to be mindful to experience gratitude. And for me, sometimes that's just, I walked outside and it's a nice, warm, lovely day. And I'm like, well, I'm really grateful for this.
Yeah, and for some reason it hits you and makes you feel good and you feel it.
Or it's a feeling yesterday we did a lot of yard work, which my wife was cracking up. Mary Catherine was saying, you're one day off a week when you don't work and you do more manual labor on your one day off a week than you do in a month, in a lifetime, whatever. And that's been the case for Saturdays for a long freaking time. And we did shrubbery clearing and tree trimming and car washing. And by the end of the morning, early afternoon, my arms were aching so bad and my knees were sore. But I looked out at what we accomplished. I'm like, there's just a sense of gratitude
and pride
and gratefulness that I was able to get this done.
Right.
It wasn't so much pride. I wasn't prideful in it.
Right.
I was grateful for the ability to have been, because I'm sitting here thinking, my arms are killing me. My knees are dying, but I was actually still able to do this.
See, and I add pride to that because you also had to make the decision and have the character to make the decision to get your ass out of bed and go do that on your only day off. So you should have pride in the fact that that was a value to you. And since you had pride in the fact that that was a value to it and went and do it, you got the gratitude you received from the work.
Yeah.
So that's why, we should add self things. You should be very proud of the fact that that's a level of character and integrity that you have. And gratitude also that we can still physically do it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's certain things that some people can't and we can't or whatever as our lives change and grow or whatever. But it is a feeling. And that's where I get frustrated with some of the new age mantra kind of things like, well, you're having a bad day. Okay. I'm grateful. You know what? No, you're not.
But
I am. I'm going to be grateful when you're done making that list because I don't want to hear it anymore. And it's not that I wish people to be down. It's that it's so hard for people to truly feel a sense of gratitude when they're delusioned about what gratitude is. And you cannot have it nonstop. Right. And that's Pete and I just talked about this. Gratitude 100% of the time is denial and hiding.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just Pete and I just talked about this a week or two ago. Yeah, gratitude 100% of the time is denial and hiding. Because there's some things in life that are difficult and we're not grateful they happened. Not at least in the moment. I can tell you very difficult things that in the moment I was like, oh my God, this is awful. As I got through it and I look back and went, I see what I learned from that.
Yeah.
I'm grateful. But here's the thing. I'm not grateful for the incident. I'm grateful for the learnings I was able to take from the situation because that's a choice. And that's another disillusionment to me is that people say, well, I'll go through those things and then everything will be wonderful. Not necessarily. Not if you think you're sitting on the couch going, I'm going to suffer. And then eventually, Ed McMahon shows up. You have to absorb it, look around, and take the learnings. And even when I say learnings, the hardest part is still always the same. What role are you playing in this? How are you responding to this? How did you bring yourself here? That's what people don't want to look at. They want to say, well, Kent did this, and I can see where Kent's a jerk. You know what I mean? Like, they can always find the outside illusion. But what role did I play in this? Yeah. What was my reaction to things? How did my response feed this? Those are the learnings, because those
Nicole.
are what make you change.
Right.
That's what makes you grow.
Remind me after the show why I giggled right there.
Why?
No. I don't want to go down a different squirrel. But remind me, you'll both love it. So this is what I tell people too: is that gratitude is an action. It's being generosity, right?
To yourself, to others. You can have a Bill Gates write $1 billion check to a charity and go, well, I was very generous. That doesn't do anything. Go get dirty. Go sit with the homeless. Go sit, go do something out of character for someone else. Right.
It doesn't have to be a homeless person. It doesn't have to be a soup kitchen. Just do something hold a door while, a young couple walks through or something. It doesn't, that doesn't even have to be the old Boy Scout help the old lady across the street, but your generosity raises your vibrations. That gratitude, that generosity raises not just yours, but that person's.
Right.
And the one that's unexpected.
Well, I'm going to add something to that.
Yeah.
Your generosity raises your vibration when you do not attach expectation. But let me say something. There is always expectation in generosity. And people say, nope, I do things for the people all the time and I have no expectations. Yes, you do. Because your brain wouldn't allow you to do it if there wasn't an outcome or a gain to it. And even if your gain is, I feel better when I do it, that's fine. But if your expectation is that someone's response is going to be a certain way, that is manipulation.
Yeah,
that is not generosity.
How many times you stop on a busy street to let a car come in and you're like, bastard didn't even give me a courtesy wave.
Right. Right. So you
get right up on them like,
you were looking to be validated from an outside source. Right. And that's a different kind of generosity. That's actually manipulation or self-serving secondary gain type of thing.
Right.
But if you do something kind and someone doesn't respond, the kindness that you offered should have been because you chose to. And the response is the response. And sometimes it's a blessing and sometimes it just is. But you're not responsible for their character. You're responsible for your character. You're responsible for how you act.
Right. Have you ever gotten somebody a nice gift at Christmas that you're like, they're really going to love this? And then they gave you Lifesavers.
Yes.
And you're like, cheap bastards. I swear to God, that's not generosity.
Right. Right. That's expectation.
That's expectation.
And even if it's not that you wanted a gift, maybe they weren't as excited about it as you thought, or didn't think it. They didn't realize how much time and effort. Or they didn't know how much time and effort you put into it. And you're like, oh my God, they're not even like overwhelmed. You're wanting validation from that outside source, which is natural. That's the thing, people. That's natural. Here's the thing. Don't let it shut you down.
Correct. Correct.
It's okay to say, oh my God, I got this thing for Kent and he's going to be so excited and it's so cool. And I spent so much time doing it. Oh my God, it was a nightmare, but he's going to be so great. And I hand it to you and you're like, thanks.
Oh, wonderful.
And then you just leave.
Yeah.
And what the hell was that? Yeah. I still have to remember it was my intentions, my, what I wanted for it, what I put into it. That was the true thing that was mattered for me.
Yeah.
Your response to it, although I hoped it would be great, if it wasn't, it shouldn't shut down. It didn't make my intentions less. My intentions have already occurred.
Right.
And it didn't make them less.
Right.
But people feel different things. And I know one of the things we're going to bring up, and we're halfway through, so I'll bring it up. As you had said, one of the things you wanted to talk about is how outside energies and frequencies, not just people, affect us. And 5G was something you want to bring up. And this is something that some people aren't going to like. And here's, before I will prerequisite it, I am not a scientist and I don't care to debate it. I have my view. It's my view. You may have your view, and that is fine. I'm at peace with that. 5G is terrible. It's affecting us all terribly. I think it's making people very, very sensitive, and their not only mental, emotional is being affected, but their physical is as well, including their energy source. And before anybody argues me with that, I will tell you, go look up and see what radiographs are, and then tell me you want to stand in the x-ray room with no gown all day long.
Well, I might.
But my point is
that's
that
just 'cause I'm weird.
it's radio waves, and there comes a certain point with certain levels and certain
levels,
times
right.
and how long you're
We've
there.
been around them forever and ever since we've been alive.
Right, but as we keep raising them,
yeah.
I feel it's going to be a problem.
And that too, and the other thing that I'll say is all of these big server houses, right, where all these computers and servers are, and the hum and the vibration that those send out, literally has been documented to drive people kind of cuckoo.
Absolutely. There's a thing I listen to. Now, these don't make me crazy. They actually help. But if you go on YouTube, there's something called megahertz frequencies. And when I'm like going, okay, I got to clear, I got to chill, I got to, reformat things. I call it refiling the mind system. Like, okay, everything's a mess. I need to do it. And I struggle with it. I'll go sit, as like I always say, in the woods. And I'll have my phone and I'll put megahertz frequencies on. And I won't even pay attention to them, but I just let them sit and play. And eventually I'm, okay, I'm finding myself calmer. And as I calm, things start to clear out. And so those frequencies do help. But again, certain levels,
right. And when
dark chocolate's good for you to a certain level, but if you eat 10 pounds a day, it's not good.
You have this on your body, in your shirt, in your bra, in your back pocket, whatever. Right. You're pulling those vibrations
to exactly where you've got it.
Right. And it's and it's interesting, right? If you want a good night's sleep,
turn your phone off.
Put it in the kitchen.
Right.
Put it in a different room.
Right.
Don't have it in your bedroom. You know what? Go out and buy a $5 digital alarm clock. Don't have this. People are like, oh, well, what if there's an emergency? I mean, okay, well, I understand that. Put it on a ringer like an old phone, and you'll hear it just like an old phone.
I will tell you with no shame, still a member of the people that have a landline.
Yeah, well,
I have a landline
phone. That's a whole different vibration right there.
But I have a landline phone because I was always afraid of no signal. I kept it when my kids were little. My husband died. I was always afraid that there'd be no phone signal, or they would forget to charge their phone, and there would be an emergency, and that just completely sent me into trauma. So
last time we had a landline, an actual landline, was 2002. I
will use my landline whenever possible.
Back in the old days. Hey, Maribel.
Give me Klondike 157.
So I don't think that it's good, and I do think that it's going to cause problems down the road. I read a little bit about them. I'm far from the expert, which is why I'm not going to bother to debate because I'm not educated enough to debate it. But I read enough about it, and I was reading the purposes of that, like what was the point of it. And truthfully, I couldn't find anything besides, again, the McDonald's philosophy. I want it faster. I want it now, and I don't care if it's good for me. And then when and if, capital IF, cancers and tumors and people going crazy and what have you starts to be affected, they're going to, oh my God, I want to sue. Right, because you want it fast, you want it now, and you don't care if it's good for you. It's the same. It's the same mentality over and over and over again. It's with relationships. It's with technology. It's with work. It's with money. It's with car. It's with everything. And we've just become a society that fights for that to the point that it's. I personally believe it's becoming detrimental. Do I think it'll turn around? Yes, and I only say that because even in saying that, my gut has never had fear of what the future is.
I mean, I've got this thing, and it's a couple years old, and it's 4G, I guess. But how fast do you need it to be? Truthfully.
Well, right? You know what? They upped mine to 5, and I didn't know it. Now there's a 5 on mine where there used to not be.
Nope, mine's still 4.
Yeah, there's a little fancy. 5G in the corner, and I didn't have that before. So something happened with some kind. They do these updates and stuff on your phone. Yeah. And my phone's a year and a half old now, I guess. They updated something because now it doesn't always show. So that's how we know all the towers aren't up yet. But there'll be spots where it shows. And I'm just as guilty because I've learned to get my phone for work and for, just like with I'm going out of town for business reasons and I had to sign some documents and I have a note phone, so it's got the little stylus thing right in here.
Oh, yeah, you're fancy.
Yeah, so I was able to just kind of turn and sign documents and email back and never touch a
Which is
computer,
nice,
you know? Yeah, but then it's like, okay, Lisa, look at you.
Yeah.
You know, look at you. Don't practice what you preach or anything.
Now, when you
you
go,
know, you
when
got
you
this
go,
is attached to yours.
when you go to the woods, you say you play the megahertz. Do you always have it with you when you're?
It depends. Sometimes I don't need it. I use the megahertz when I need the megahertz. Sometimes I'm within a reasonable space and I just need to chill. I need away time. I don't people really well. And people say, but you're friendly. That's not what I mean. I do okay. I do fine with people. I am friendly, but in large groups or around lots of people for a long period of time, I become very uncomfortable. So sometimes it's just a matter of I'm going out in nature where I'm not going to have to people and I'm going to put my hands on the dirt and I'm going to watch the turtles. I told you I love to watch the turtles sunbathe. There's something about a turtle. So there's hundreds of them out on this big log that had fallen. And I'm like, look at them in their own little home, in their own little space, and they're perfectly safe amongst themselves. Like I just sit and watch it. I start to thinking, look at the hawk and think about he can fly anywhere he wants to go and he's not worried about that. And I start to get into, and then I go, okay, we're all better. When I'm losing my mind, you know, I'm in anxiety, I'm panicked, I'm worried about things, and I'm going, okay, you know what, you can't stay in this state because you're just going to demolish yourself. As I call anxiety the hamster on the wheel. It gets on there, it runs, it gets completely exhausted, but you never made it anywhere. You did not go anywhere.
And now,
then I use megahertz.
You know, for this will be the 18th or 19th year that me and a few of my best buddies, we go the second week of September, we go out to the woods, and we go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you know, Monday, and there's no phones, you know, we're eating over the fire, we're just being dudes, right? And but
connecting to the real.
Yeah, but it is so, I mean, I look forward to that week, you know, more than Christmas. I mean, it's you just are able to go, you're able to breathe again. You're able to just, you know, we'll just sit there for hours in silence watching the river go by, you know, and just sit there like, man,
and guess what? You take that time for yourself, and then when you come back,
welcome back, Mary.
You still have the same things to look at. The same things are going on. The world kept turning. But how do you respond to the world when you're back?
So everybody's like, wow, you're refreshed, you know.
Right.
Wow. You know.
And that's what everybody should learn to do, whether it be once a week. You know, once a year you do a big one. But there's really no reason you can't, at minimum, I would think, once a week. You know, people say, I'm too busy. Well, you just found your own problem. So then it's a matter of, do I want to reprioritize a little bit? Because if I'm this busy that I can't take an hour or two once a week to just shut down in a way, what have you created in your space? And, you know, maybe it's time for garage sale. Let's clear out the clutter that we don't really need anymore and do that. But those are choices. And we've sadly become in a world and society that likes to just blame everybody else for choices, you know. It's for their fault. Choices, right. It's their fault. They need to change. They need to make me more comfortable. And no, we need to learn to adjust ourselves, our choices, and our lives to fit into wherever we choose to be. Because then the argument will come, well, why would I want to act like this world? I tell you, act like this world. I've said it before. I used to keep a mirror in my daughter's bathroom, and it said, be the person you choose to see in the world. At the end of the day, you're responsible for you. And at the end of the day, my personal belief is I'm going to have to answer to only one. And if I answer to that one, those who don't believe, that's fine. Let's say I'm right. And I answer to that one, I say, well, because he made me. What do you think? Your kid comes home and does something really incredibly freaking stupid at school. They totally know better than, and he says, but my friend told me to. Do you care? Or do you think your child maybe should have had enough integrity and character to say, no, I shouldn't do that? Right? We're responsible for ourselves. And,
that's right.
You know, there's people really fighting, like we were talking about 5G a minute ago. There's people really battling these things. I'm not one that's personally that I don't feel like that's my wheelhouse to go battle right now. I do see it, but you know what? Then go do that. Find your wheelhouse and go do what it is you have to do. But you have to answer for you. Don't follow the crowd, because that's what we're finding right now. Is everybody just wants to follow the crowd because they appear happy. So therefore I'll go follow them and be a part of that. And I ran into it after my husband passed away. And I've told this story a long time ago, but people came and said, I went for coffee with a man after my husband had passed away, 10 and a half months. And people actually said this to me, oh, you're supposed to wait a year. I said, what happens in a year? I'm just going for coffee. It's not, it's not Vegas.
Right.
We're going for coffee.
Right.
And they're, no, you're supposed to wait a year. I said, in 366 days, will it not bother me that my husband of 25 years died? Because I'm looking forward to day 366 then. Well, no, that's not the case. Okay, then what is the case? Well, they say, I said, who is they? And when did their husband die? Like, who got to make this rule? And people are, no, you have to do what the crowd says. You have to do what these people say. You have to do what these influences are. Why? Why do I have to? Because you know what?
Right.
Just for the record, even now reflecting back, I don't have guilty for having coffee with somebody. Right. I really don't. And I don't think my husband's up there going, bitch.
How dare she?
She had 6 more weeks to suffer, and she didn't.
That's cheating.
Yeah. And it's the it's the influence of people. And
it's been a while, right?
You call me a floozy.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
That's me. I'm the wild one.
Well, and so,
but it's the energy that's going on right around that says if I don't feel comfortable in what's happening around me, then I have to go make myself be comfortable or make somebody else create me to be comfortable.
And so what you're saying with the 5G is go back to the cartoons. For everybody out on the radio listening, where Superman used his it's like tick 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 tick, right, and it goes out. That's kind of your brain waves. Your brain waves are going out. So what you're saying is, as 5G is coming in, it's deflecting those
or making it go a little
wobbly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because what is 5G meant to do? Download information faster and make information spread faster.
Okay.
So if we're in the theory, right, that our energy waves are going out, why would that not touching it make it move faster, download faster, change faster, alter faster, vibrate too high, and then maybe vibrate too high for us? That's just like you'll find with the megahertz frequencies. If you look up on YouTube, there's a whole bunch of different frequencies. And people say, what's each one for? I don't know. It usually says on there, like there's a love one and an abundance one. And I don't pay attention to that.
Right.
What one feels good right now? What sounds good when I listen to it? Because some of them sometimes when you listen to are irritating. Well, then that's not the frequency I need right now. I need something to change it. But to start out irritated is not going to make me better. Right. So find one that's comfortable and relaxing.
So have you found, and this goes to you too, Pete, have you found that, well, it's been hard over the last year because of social distancing, but have you found that people are starting to get closer into your bubble? I mean, like, because those wavelengths, that it's not going out as far, so now I'm going to sneak in a little bit, or?
I'm going to say something that I'm going to say I'm not sure whether it's the frequencies out there or whether it's me changing, because I've also been going through these processes of clearing a lot of things out. I am much more psychic than I've ever been. And I don't like the word psychic.
Right.
So I'm a medium and I'm an intuitive, but I am much more psychic. Yeah. And I hate that word because it's clown made. Like people think of the circus lady and I'm not the circus lady. Right. Than I have ever been. Like yesterday, this is a perfect example. Yesterday I went and got my hair done in the morning.
Looks great, by the way.
Thanks. And my nails done in the afternoon. Right. Also I did 5 readings at the beauty shop just sitting there. And random customers coming in. And the girls who do my hair know me. She went to high school with me. And everybody, the owner of the beauty shop now gets excited when I come in because she's always, maybe somebody's going to get a reading. And there were 5. Like literally I was sitting there and I just looked at them. I said, you guys better start charging more for haircuts on the days that I have an appointment because seriously, this is getting out of control. But I thought it was there because the energy is good and they accept it and they get all excited when I come in.
Or at least then give you a cut of the tips. Something.
Yeah, I went to the nail salon.
Just the tip.
And did 3. The lady who was finishing up that was before me, because it's just a one-man shop that I go to.
Right.
The lady who was finishing up before me, the lady who does my nails and has been doing them for years, and then the people who were waiting just after me. So I did like 7 or 8 just random readings yesterday. Do random readings happen? Yes. Yeah. Like that? No.
Not so much.
Right. And I'm finding my visions are clearer, my visions are stronger. People are reacting to me differently. Like people, when they're around me, respond to me differently now. And can I say it's not happening to everybody? I can't say that. I can only speak for me because I know what I feel like and I know what my situations are. But yeah, people are responding to me differently. And funny enough is that people say, oh, is everybody loving now? No. Some people are exceptionally loving, affectionate, respectful, honoring almost. And then some people are agitated, clear, and backing off.
So do you do it with attitude like, girl, you all.
I can see you're backing off. You got some bad juju. No. But I joke about juju all the time. But no, I just kind of, I'm an observer.
Sure.
I'm a people watcher. Put me on a bench somewhere with a bunch of people doing stuff. I'll sit there for hours with coffee, just watching responses and how people react. No, I just observe, oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
You know, look at that.
I've
known that person for a certain amount of time, and as I'm changing in a certain direction, look how uncomfortable they're becoming. That's really interesting. Do I judge them for it? No. Nope. It's an observation.
Yep.
Straight it's an observation. Some people are even more lovey. You know what's funny? This is actually funny. I was just telling my mom about this. I have found, I'm nicer because I'm calmer. Like, in other words, so when I'm out there, that's another thing about gratitude and generosity.
Yeah.
When we're happy and we're feeling gratitude for our life, we want other people to experience that. It's a natural thing to want other people to experience that. So because I'm right now with everything going on, I truly am in a full sense of vibrational gratitude. Like I feel excited. And so I want other people to experience that. So I'm nicer. It's just, I don't know another way to be it. I'm kinder. I'm more welcoming. And our society is so messed up that apparently is like flirting and hitting on people. Wow. And I actually had somebody I went to beer bands and barbecues last weekend. And somebody said, why are you acting like that? Do you like me? And I said, well, of course I like you. Like, I'm talking to you. And they went, it's not what I mean. And I was like, what? Because you're nice to people? This is what it's like now? You must be kidding. Kindness has gone this far. I said, that's not kindness. That's manipulation. Right. That's what our society is not grasping. Well, when you're only kind or generous or thoughtful or wishing good on someone or affectionate. I'm a toucher. I know you guys are not touchers. You guys don't know this, but I'm a toucher. I'll walk up and put my arm around somebody and say, hey, how are you doing?
I'm more comfortable with that than I would ever be.
If I know them well, not strangers, but I'll walk up if I know somebody well, put my arm around and go, hey, how are you? Or give them a hug or, I'm fine with all of that. That's just, to me, that's the natural thing to me.
Just the open mouth kisses that are weird.
Yeah. Well, and the tongue. That's always inappropriate. But
no, I know her. She's
we had to write that into the manual because some people come in, they just start licking all over him. It's really awkward,
But it's become now where people can't accept that what you're talking about coming into your space, into your thing, and I'm in people's space all the time. But I'm also okay, first off, to pay attention and feel like, oh, they don't like that. So then I'll back away comfortably to go, that's uncomfortable for them, or I'm just fine with going, okay, I can be friendly without having an ultimate or agenda other than, I'm so happy to see you genuinely,
Yeah, now I will say this. Yesterday, I went to a place. I had to get some distilled water for my CPAP machine. And I went to a very large store, without the mask. And let me tell you, the vibration there, I mean, we've gone away from kind of, in this store, there were still some people with masks on, but for the most part, it wasn't that yucky, scared fear feeling that has been here for the last 20 some odd months.
Well, in Wisconsin now it's an option.
Wherever you go.
Is Illinois that way now too?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Now, if it's like the no shoes, no shirt, no service. If they say you have to have a mask,
it's a store policy.
Right. Okay.
It's store policy.
But the interesting thing is, I went to a couple of those large stores. One was a home store, whatever, where you buy lumber and stuff.
Yeah.
And so sneaky.
And again, now my wife fully vaccinated, also had the virus, had the right. In there with a mask on, and I just kind of said, honey, I said, well, you are the least person to, you've had it. You've
got
been
the antibodies.
Yeah. So the interesting thing, she goes, I just don't want to offend anybody.
I was going to say, that's her discomfort with the things around it, but that's a societal thing. And
that's okay.
When you hear this, Alice, I'm just saying this out of truth. That's a comfort. That's a people-pleasing thing. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Even when I brought up, like, after my husband died, that's society saying, this is how you're supposed to be, and then trying to make you uncomfortable enough to follow suit.
And that's okay.
And I'm the rebel who says, why do I want to follow you? Are you doing great? Explain to me how that works. Like, maybe I want my own juju. So that's, and it's a fear factor. I mean, fear is the number one controlling emotion.
Always.
Fear is the absolute number one controlling emotion.
Followed by love.
Well, you know what's funny? I'll just say this on the air. Does she watch?
She could be on.
I was just saying, are you going to pretend she watches my show now because you're on it? I talked to your daughter too, by the way.
Oh, Colette?
Yeah, she was so funny. She comes up to the desk one day. I was doing study hall attendance, and she came to my desk to sign out because she got to go somewhere. And I said, I know you. And she goes, I know you too. I signed there with my dad. I started laughing. So then your wife, I've seen her a few times, and I usually don't. And I've seen her a few times, and I'm looking at her, and Shannon says, what are you doing? I'm like, I can't believe she's just walking around like she doesn't know me. Like, she's got to know who I am. And I'm like, that's weird. Now I don't want to approach her because like then maybe she thinks I'm creepy. I don't know. That was really weird. So she walked into my office the other day and she goes, it is not that I don't know. She goes, I'm introducing myself. I said, you don't have to introduce yourself. Oh, yeah, that's why I'm creepy, stalking, staring at you, thinking, why do you? And we ended up in this conversation. Yeah. So she was very funny. So Alice, I love you. I'm just joking. She was so funny.
But that's she'll keep her distance till she knows somebody.
Right.
That's just
and then she just kind of came in. Well, she probably noticed me being like,
right.
I know you know me.
Yeah.
Don't run.
Yeah. Since she had the show, I was like, oh yeah, she works now. She's your old job. Yeah.
Right. So she's a peach, but she there are people like her, and it's not just her,
and that's okay,
that say, you know what, I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. My ex was the same way. Because I have been a non-masker for quite a while.
Yeah.
And when we were going to the store, he'd go, you're gonna put on your mask, right? Is it gonna bother you that much if I don't? Yes. He wasn't worried about me getting sick. Right. It was just, I don't want people looking at us. I don't want people, I don't want to feel, well, he's an empath.
Yeah.
So I don't want people looking at us. He has social anxiety on top of it. So he doesn't want people looking at us. He doesn't want he doesn't want confrontation because he doesn't deal with confrontation well. And some people were incredibly confrontational over this. So he didn't want somebody to come up and having confrontation with me. And then he's got to be put in a situation where he feels, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just put on the thing. And that's the energy that's around that's a fear. That's a people pleasing. And I'm not saying to do or don't do it. Truthfully, I don't give a crap whether you do or don't do it. It's just genuinely, that's a personal choice, but that is still an energy that people don't realize. Because when people said, well, how do I see it differently? And my ex was actually one of them. He was tinfoil hat when this all started, like horrified, truly. I mean, truly horrified. It was sad. I used to cry. Like, it was so sad how scared he was. And he said, what do I do, Lisa, to stop this? Because I'm genuinely, feeling this. And I said, turn off the news, step outside your house. He lives by the dam and stuff. So go sit in nature for a while, not days, obviously, unless you bring a tent, but
breathe.
The birds are still flying. I am breathing. It's kind of like pull yourself back into you and realize what's right here. What's right here? And I've told students at the school, sometimes when you get that way, take a deep breath, blow out the energy, literally pull the energy and blow it out and say, in this moment, I am fine.
Yeah.
And that's pull yourself to here.
You want to raise your vibration. That's one of the best ways to do it is.
Thank you, Shana. It is.
Take that deep breath, meditate, whatever. But breathing is so important to your vibrations. It is nuts.
Yes, I was just talking to a client about this because there's different breathing techniques to do. And I'm actually may go get a certification in it's breath work, but I haven't gotten that far with it. But breathing has different techniques and it affects your physical body in a way that allows you to chill. So I was just telling a client this who's very young. She's 18. So I'm like, I know it seems like I'm always saying, now breathe in, pull from your toes to the bottom and push out. I said, but it truly does affect your physical to be able to relax.
Well, non-breathing does the same.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Your body will chill significantly if you stop breathing.
Right. Although here is a fact. This is something people do not realize. If you have somebody in a true panic attack, I don't mean like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. I mean a true hyperventilating panic attack. And people say just breathe. That is a mistake. That is the opposite. When someone is in a true panic attack, hyperventilating, you say hold your breath. Because the problem isn't that you're not getting enough air, you're getting too much and your body's hyper reacting.
Right.
So it's kind of like the flickering of the light bulbs going like this, turn the light off.
Right.
Let the lamp cool a second and turn it back on and let it flow. So yeah, you would tell somebody in that situation, hold your breath to stop that frequency from going.
Here's something to pay attention to. Are you a belly breather or are you a chest breather?
I am a chest breather now, but I had to create myself to be.
Both.
Does it depend on how you're breathing and what it's about?
Because I learned long ago, I feel what happens if you're a chest breather, that's shallow. If you expand your belly, that gives you the whole, when you actually work with the diaphragm muscle, that's what actually belly breathing is working with your full diaphragm muscle. That gives you the capacity and the ability to take in the most capacity your lungs can handle. And it actually feels really good. And when you're just relaxing or whatever, I long ago, I just learned to be very mindful of that. And you can enjoy a chest breath and then
that's what you're referring to as belly breathing, because that's what I'm listening. Because here's what people don't realize is that your lungs have lobes.
Right.
So when we breathe, we're not filling our lungs.
No.
So in order to get a true breath and expand, and many people have lost the capacity of the lower lobe of your lungs. So you take a deep breath as far as you can go, hold it for a second, and then take one more. And that's when you're going to push down into that lower lobe. So that's what you're referring to.
It's like trying to get the last hit out of that joint when you're a kid. You're like,
down the toilet bowl because Ken's here. Down the toilet bowl because Ken's here. But it's to open that lower lobe and get a full capacity, lung capacity. We have 4 minutes. Is that what you're saying?
And that is by far.
But I'm here with the two owners. We can't run long because you guys are kind of important.
By far, we have not paid attention to our breathing
or our bodies or our minds.
Our minds. If you want to raise that vibration,
then don't take a deep breath near the litter box.
I say it's like when you take a shot of whiskey and you feel that burn go all the way down, you know what I mean, until it hits your belly. That's the energy as you stop to slow down and breathe, you want to raise your vibrations, is you got to kind of feel that center pull, as you said, from, where's that energy? Okay, there it is.
But some people are so disconnected from it that they don't even know. And that's what I was talking about with the body scan. I don't mean to it. Do a quick, okay, how am I feeling right now? Okay, this is what my feet feel like. I'm bringing it up. Okay, that's my legs. Just do a quick body scan. It could take seconds. But a quick body scan when you first wake up in the morning. It's not to judge yourself. It's to know where you're at. And throughout the day, periodically, just check, because then you're going to start to understand what does belong to you and how your body responds to things and how it doesn't, versus just being kind of out there in the world, getting bounced all over by, because now everybody says, I'm an empath. We're all empathic to some level, okay? That's just a fact. But you don't know the difference between the 5G and this coming out of this building or that, stereo. That you don't know the person, and is that a person's illness? When you're a true empath, you feel other people's illnesses. So you don't know what's yours and what isn't. So you kind of walk around your whole life in this uncomfortable disarray, yelling rainbows and butterflies because then it'll be better. No, it won't. You don't know who you are. Right. And knowing who you are is more than, and it's interesting because I talked to somebody and I said, tell me about you, tell me who you are. And guess what? They listed their job, their age, where they live. I said, that's all great. I'm really proud of you. Who are you? And it was to make a point to this person to go, well, what do you mean? Who are you? What are your dreams? What is your faith? What do you believe in? What happens when you struggle? What happens when you're happy? What drove you to do this? What do you feel? And they just looked at me like, I guess I don't know. And I'm like, right, that's where we're going. That's where we're going.
Roll your sleeves up.
Right. But our society has gotten to a point where when you say, hi, how are you? What do you do? Well, I'm this and I'm that and I do this. And
and I love this because it's who I am. I usually go, well, I'm a little gassy, but you asked.
Well, that's when they say,
always down the toilet bowl with Kent.
When they say,
we're going to call it down the toilet bowl with Kent every time you're on the air with me.
They say, what do you do? It's a little bit more fun to say, well, much like Adam West, I do the Batusi.
It's just great to see people's reaction.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh.
they look at you like you've lost your damn mind, but
Yeah.
then they laugh a little bit. But
Oh,
Or
it breaks.
sometimes-
That's an icebreaker.
Or sometimes I'll ask, do you really want to know? Or are you just being kind? And then they're
Is this the polite thing to ask, or do you genuinely care?
that's because
That's
people's
the thing, 'cause how many people have
identity
asked you a question
is
and
wrapped
said, like,
in there so
hey,
much.
how are you feeling? And then you barely even can respond, and they're like, oh, great, you want to go to...
That's right.
You didn't care. Those are all different ways that we're affected, because you know what happens, and here's the thing, we're joking, but here's the thing. If somebody did that and you really needed, maybe in that moment, you really needed to tell somebody, I'm struggling. You know what I mean? Or whatever. And they didn't respond, or they responded like they really didn't listen. Guess what? Guess what just happened? You just went down a little, I got a little less hope now. In this moment, how I'm feeling, I got a little less hope. Did we miss comments or what have you yet?
No, I've been responding to them quietly
Maybe
in
they're not
the
what we wanted you to
microphone,
say.
and most of them are hi, hellos. Mary Sutherland, Nicole Vaughn,
Hey, Mary.
Shayna Krenzlock, of course, Wendy Munson, and your mom has been listening there, Lisa.
Hi, everybody.
And loads of other people tuning in and out here. So
Notice you
on the
didn't
live
mention
stream.
Alice. I'm just saying.
Alice, I have not seen.
She'll creep sometimes.
I've not seen Alice, so
She'll creep sometimes.
she may be pulling the ninja listing. I don't know. So, but we are at 10:01. I don't mind if you run a little long if you're so inclined or inspired to
I
do
was
so.
kind of teasing. You guys are just the owners, and I figured I had some pull.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, we have owner meeting after your show
That's
on
right.
Sundays. So
I bet that those
have
are amazing.
actual business
They are actually-
to discuss. We have to do actual work. So
Yeah.
for a few moments,
That's right.
minutes.
Well, I thank everybody
Yeah,
for
thanks for having me. It's
listening.
wonderful.
Oh, you're always. I thank everybody for listening. And if the signal is good enough, I will actually be doing it remote next week from a location that I'm hoping we can have view of in the back. Because it'll be very pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping. So we'll see how that goes. If for some reason next week is a rerun, I'm fine. It's just that I couldn't get a signal. I'm just saying I'm going to some mountains. If for some reason I couldn't get a signal strong enough to do the remote, then Pete will have to play a rerun. But at this point, I am anticipating getting on, and then I'm anticipating that I'll get a signal strong enough to do so. So we're going to leave it at that. But I thank everybody for coming in. Doesn't mean you can't book an appointment. I'm coming back into town. It's just a little trip for business.
Little trip.
Little trip.
Little trip. All right. Well, welcome everybody.
Thank you.
Come back. Y'all
Yeah.
have good times.
What was
Y'all
it?
come back now. Here.
That's what I was just trying to
come back
remember. I'm
now.
like, what
Yeah.
show is that from? Yeah, we won't be down the toilet bowl next week because Kat won't be with me.
That's not the right way to butter up the owner of this, one of the owners of the
Well,
station.
you know what? That I got half of them that I'm still okay with. So I got a 50-50 shot. That's how I
You got a
look at it.
50-50 shot that you'll
Yeah.
still.
And I
still
get
be
along
on
with
here.
his wife, which gives me 25% of him. So I'm leaning still on the other side.
That's right. You should feel good about that.
Have a good day, everybody.